Welcome to the Connor's Corner segment of Ask the Lawyer. I'm very pleased as our next pair of guests to have William Daniels. And for me, William Daniels was always John Adams in 1776. And he's accompanied by his wife, Bonnie, who played with William Daniels in the TV series St. Elsewhere, and they both won Emmy Awards. So how you doing today, President Adams?
Oh, I'm fine. Thank you, Mike. Yeah.
Okay. I know you had a lot of connections with the, in effect, Adams family. I remember on PBS you once played John Quincy Adams.
Yes. I have a corner on the Adamses. I play them all. Yeah. Well, they're such an interesting family anyway. But John Adams I played for a long time on Broadway and then in film. So I had an intimate connection with that. Also, along the way, I received many books from people about John Adams. I still have them on my bookshelf. I haven't looked at them because I really only needed to know what I had to know about the show itself, the television show.
Now, how many years were you on Broadway in 1776?
I think it was 2 years and 2 months.
Okay, so you got used to the role.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's right, isn't it, Bonnie?
What?
2 years and 2 months?
That's about right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's my wife who's on the phone, who is actually, she's a two-time Emmy Award winner, but other than that, she's my memory bank. And she'll remind me of things. If you have a question that I can't recall, she might be able to help us out.
Let's go back to the beginning. A lot of people think that you're from the Boston, New England area because of your accent. Is that true?
I know. I'm from New York. I was born in Brooklyn. But when I was rather young, 15 or 16, I got into a play called Life with Father, and that family in the play were from Massachusetts and had that kind of accent. And I honestly just picked it up without even thinking about it. I guess I just absorbed it from hearing them talk about it. And then with me being an understudy and then going in to play the second oldest son and then the oldest son. So it was a long run for me. And I picked up that accent.
All right. Now, you have a book out.
Yeah. Well, it's about my journey in show business, starting when I was, my sister Jackie and I were young performers on NBC's Children. It was called the Horn and Hunter Children's Hour. We started out there, Jackie and I, singing and so forth. And we were on that for a long time. And that was my introduction to it. And about 15 or 16, I think it was, I got into Life with Father, which, by the way, ran for 9 years on Broadway. Not me in it, but a host of others. 9 years on Broadway, Life with Father. I think that's probably a record. Anyway, it was a long time.
Now, you mentioned your wife was an Emmy Award-winning actress. Where did she win her Emmys?
On St. Elsewhere.
Okay, and you were also a prominent part of that series.
Yes. I guess I won two myself. Yes, we were. I played Dr. Craig, and then Bonnie came on as my wife, and it was actually a joke when on one episode I boasted about getting her to stop smoking, and I said the way I did it is I got out in the front lawn and yelled, "I want you to stop smoking, it's not healthy for you." Anyway, next episode I go, we're at an event, and I leave the table to go to the men's room, and she pulls out a cigarette and starts smoking. So that's how effective Dr. Craig was.
Now, what was it like being you've worked in films. Of course, a lot of us remember you as, Dustin Hoffman's father in The Graduate.
Oh, yes. That was a pleasant experience. It turned out Mike Nichols was a very gifted director, and I had a lot of fun on it. It was a nice show to do, and Mike was wonderful with his sharp sense of humor and his casual way of directing, because he knew what most secure directors do know. That is, if you hire someone that you know, whose work you are familiar with and that you see in this part, then there's not too much direction you have to give them. It's only, I find, only insecure actors that are on top of you all the time and playing the director. I guess you sense that I don't care for those types.
Yes. All right, so you've done Broadway, live theater, you've done TV, you've done films. What is the difference in your approach to acting?
None, actually. The only difference, when you're on the stage, you have to project so that you're heard at the back of the house. And one of the, I find, things about projecting is being able to pronounce clearly. And that will carry you to the net. You don't have to yell. And you just have to enunciate clearly, and it will follow to the back of the house without yelling. Because, if you're yelling, you're not doing the job you're supposed to do. It's very disconcerting. Anyway, that's what I have found, that in the theater, it's that, enunciating. On television and film, it's pretty much the same story, except that it's more conversational, but not really too conversational. I hate these mumblers who are on television and, like they're being very realistic, and you can't understand a word they're saying.
The book. Why did you write the book?
As a test of my memory. I didn't. I just thought, I wonder if I can recall where I've been and the journey I have made in show business, from when Jackie, my sister Jackie, and I were a little song and dance team, and see if I could recall what came about. And I think I've already said that once you pick up the pen, it all kind of comes back to you. So I started writing it as a test. I didn't think it would turn into a book. But as I kept going, I was amazed at my ability to recall things that I hadn't thought about for years. But there it came as you sat down there with your pen. And it came back, and I wrote it down, and pretty soon I had a little autobiography.
Besides your wife, who do you have the fondest memory of working with?
Oh, that's a good question. Bonnie, can you help me out there?
Eddie.
Other than you?
Ed Flanders.
Ed Flanders,
oh, yes.
St. Elsewhere.
Yes. Yes, Ed was a wonderful actor and a great listener, which is a sign of a really good actor who actually listens to the person he's acting with. Some actors just make believe they're thinking of their next lines. They're not really listening. Ed was a really good listener, and that with that comes his reactions, which are quite real. And he was just a joy to work with.
What are some of the other people names you would like to mention that the listeners might be interested, so they pick up your book?
Oh, gee whiz. Dare I mention Sandy Dennis?
Sandy Dennis, sure. I may have to tell people to go IMDb.
I worked with Sandy on 1,000 Clowns, and then we did a couple of other things together. And, she was very talented, but she had a lot of funny little mannerisms that sometimes annoyed people. Getting a line out, she'll hem and haw. I remember she was doing that with Jason Robards in a scene, and she was hemming and hawing before she actually got the words out, and then he looked at her, he said, "Are you finished?"
What about Audrey?
Audrey?
Mm-hmm.
Hepburn?
Yeah.
What about her?
Where did you work with her?
We did Two for the Road, a film.
Wonderful film.
What's that?
Wonderful film.
Yes, that's true. And she was a wonderful actress and a lovely, lovely lady, a real lady. And we had a good time on it. I mean, there I got this without knowing any of them. The offer came for me to go into this, fly over to Paris, and then go on the road with this show. And I was surprised about it. I didn't know any of the people, not the director, not Audrey, not Albert Feeny. And then I got there, and I'll tell you a little funny story. As it sometimes happens in film, you find yourself doing your first scene, which is your biggest scene, and so. I was over at a tree walking up and down and trying to memorize my lines and make sure I had them cold. And Audrey and Albie were sitting in the car that we used. And suddenly I heard Albie say, "Billy." And I looked over and he pressed his finger like, come on over here. And they were sitting in the back of the car. And I walked over and I leaned in and he said, "Billy, not to worry. She gets all the close-ups." Which broke the ice, and it was just such a pleasure to work with them.
He also did a wonderful Arthur Miller play with Darren. Very late Miller play, and it was on television. I can't remember the name of it, but they got some awards for it. It was excellent. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Mm-hmm. You mean Arthur Miller's play?
Yeah, Arthur Miller's play.
Yeah. Well, he was a great guy and a wonderful playwright.
Did you meet Marilyn Monroe?
Did I meet her?
Tell him your reaction to Marilyn.
Oh, I can't tell him that on television, no. No.
Yes, you can.
I think we can clean it up.
Oh, well, we were in acting class, and
that's Lee Strasberg's
acting class, and she came because she wanted to get serious about acting and not play these dumb blondes all the time. And so she came to class, and she came down the line of other actors and I, sitting there in the second row, and she said, excuse me, and what passed in front of me was a really serious derriere. I mean, it was a noble size. So, and then she sat down, and she was so nervous working in the class for Lee, but she did, and
she was lovely.
Yeah, she was a lovely lady. We also, I think, bumped into her at Lee Strasberg's apartment. Lee and Paula, his wife, used to have these Saturday or Sunday soirees where people that they knew and liked were invited, and I ran into her. We ran into her again there, I think. It was all very pleasant.
The name of the book, There I Go Again, How I Came to Be Mr. Feeny, John Adams, Dr. Craig, KITT, and many others. And you've got some book signings coming up. I understand on Sunday, April 29th, you could be at Bookends, one of our favorite bookstores in Ridgewood, New Jersey at 2 p.m.
Yes, we're going to be there. I've not been to that particular one. We've been doing book signings for a while now for the book, and but I'll be doing that one in... When, Bonnie? Next week?
Sunday, April 29th, if I have it right, 2 p.m.
That's right.
Yeah.
At Ridgewood, New Jersey.
You're doing one at the Drama Book.
That's in Manhattan.
Bookshop. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's on May 1st. I know you must have a lot of fans out there. I hope you're going to spend some time and autograph some books. And
that's what he does.
Oh,
and
yes.
They love him.
Yes, I'll do that.
They love Mr. Feeny.
They love Mr. Feeny.
Yes.
Okay.
They love Mr. Feeny.
Why do they love Mr. Feeny?
They love Mr. Feeny. As a matter of fact, I was on 8th Avenue in New York one day while I was playing that role, and a bunch of kids got off a bus and spotted me down the street, and they said, "Mr. Feeny!" And they all came rushing. So I ran around the corner to escape them. I mean, it was kind of frightening. So that's how popular Mr. Feeny was.
Mr. Feeny. Oh,
he was a total coward.
So many of them feel like, that they of a certain age that Mr. Feeny educated them, that he was their teacher.
Yep. Anyway, that's my story.
Okay, well, again, we look forward to seeing you on Sunday, April 29th at Bookends in Ridgewood, New Jersey at 2 o'clock.
Will you be there?
I'll be there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
I hope you'll be there.
I look forward to meeting you.
Okay. And then, again, the people can't make Sunday, April 29th, Tuesday, May 1st, the Drama Bookshop in Manhattan at 5 p.m.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniels.
I look forward to it, Mike.
Okay, I look forward to seeing you.